This lobster's probably hungry, terrified. When I used to work at a restaurant in college, one week they had we didn't have lobster on the menu, but one week we in the summer, we had lobster on the menu. It was like a special. And so the second or third day of that week, I'm working and I go I was a server. So I was I was in the kitchen, but I was also outside the kitchen. So I was going back and forth. That was basically the job. And I remember one day I walked in and I look into the kitchen after being out on the floor, and I see a bunch of people, the hostess, and a couple of the other servers, and one or two of the chefs with their aprons, crowded around this table in the middle of the kitchen, maybe 5 or 6 people. And so I'm walking in and I'm what are they doing over there? So I walk over and I just notice as I'm walking over, there's this huge lobster just laying on the table on this cutting, this cooking table. They were looking at it because it was this really, really big lobster compared to the other lobsters we had. It was 2 times the size of all the other lobsters. And so everyone was just looking at it oh my God, look at this fucking guy. He's huge. And so I go up to the table, I'm looking over it, and he's right there. And this lobster is just his little claws are tied. He's moving super slow, and his little antennas are going real slow, and there's just all these human beings just looking over it. And I remember just thinking this is fucked up. This is really fucked up. I can't believe this lobster's probably hungry, terrified, cold, who knows? This lobster's probably just giving up. He knows it's over. And I'm just thinking this is just really fucked up. And it actually really got to me, and I gave up meat for 6 months after that. I didn't eat a single piece of meat for 6 months. I was so torn up. It was also around the time when all those food documentaries came out, Food Inc. and all those factory farming docs on Netflix. So I was watching that, and I was reading books on vegetarianism, and I was just really moved by the whole experience. It was powerful because I just felt it was just really inhumane. So I'm wondering when are we ever gonna get to the point where more and more people have those revelations, because it's still on the fringes. I forget the stat, but a couple of years ago I heard the stat, but it was still I think 9% of America or 8% of America is a vegetarian. So it's still a really small group.
I'm sure it's a lot. I feel it's higher than that now, to be honest. I'm sure it's in the 20s% in
that's high. 20%. Think about it, all of America. A lot of people aren't conscious of these ideas yet.
That's true. I'm in my own little bubble.
Right, we're in our own bubbles.
Yeah. I will say availability of vegan and vegetarian options isn't really available outside of most metros.
Yeah, for sure. I was raw vegan for a period of time, and it was really, really tough for me for health reasons. And it was really tough for me when I was in Florida, per se. New York is actually such a good place to be raw vegan. But even places in Colorado is tough. Brandon, thank you for sharing and being vulnerable.